Hey friends, welcome to Stable. As you might pick up from the name, this class will be about trying to uncover our root of stability. We will see how it is that we can let stability characterize our deeper rooted strength. Find your way to the top of the mat. Spread your feet out about as wide as your hips. Connect the inner and outer edges, the four corners, front and back of your feet, and then close down your eyes. It might take you a moment to land in a standing place, and you might find that stability isn't instantaneous for you off the get-go. So if closing your eyes makes you feel unstable to begin, consider opening the gaze only enough that you can softly stare at a single point, just barely out in front of you. Try not to take your entire environment in. And when you feel like you've touched in onto that space of slow stability, begin to harness your breath, bring it in and out of your body a few times. Standing upright with open space to the front of our chest and our belly gives us a lot of room for the breath. The spine is completely erect. Uncover your ability to be able to breathe into a three-dimensional shape, letting the breath release support you from the inside out. Notice with the rooting nature of the exhale how it feels to really feel each of the corners of your feet, grounding in from the inside edge and the outside edge, front and back. And naturally you might find that there is a slight bit of pulse and movement through the body into the stability of these four corners, but consistently come back to an even rooting and a full rolling breath. And it's meaningful to you to pick up your hands and join them together in front of your heart space. Please do. A soft bow of your chin. And we pour our efforts toward a myriad of different things, personal and universal. May we move through the physicality of the practice from this beautiful universal space of being able to touch into our own action of grounding and rooting. When your exhale comes next, release your fingertips down to your sides and crack your eyes open. Take a slow inhale and stretch your arms out to the sides, lift up. And then when your exhale comes, take a generous flex into the knees and spill down to your first forward fold. We're going to pulse the spine a few times. So the next time you inhale, slide your fingertips up your shins, pull your chest forward. And then when you exhale, release and fold. We're going to do this 2 more times with our own breath. Inhale, wave the chest up forward. Exhale, release and fold. 1 more time, follow your breath. Inhale, lift the chest up. Exhale, release and fold. Push evenly through both feet, reach your arms out to the sides, sweep and lift up. And then with an exhale, bring your hands down through the center of your chest. We'll go again. Inhale to lift. Exhale to dive and sweep, forward fold. And at half extension with your inhale. And this time with your exhale, release your fingertips, step your right foot all the way back. You're gonna keep your right knee lifted. So there's quite a bit of strength that happens in the right leg to keep us lifted here. Ground completely through the left foot and try to be really light with your fingertips so you can reach the chest forward. If it feels like you're really collapsing onto the front of the left thigh, bring blocks under your fingertips to give you a little bit more height, and breathe here into this space for just 1 more. Good. When your exhale comes, both your hands come down to frame your front foot. You're going to step your front foot back to the length of a plank pose. And again, we want this to be just as stable. So your knees can stay lifted up, or you can lower them down. And when your exhale comes, you're going to lower down through your push-up. Good. When you get here, release your fingertips toward the back of the mat. Untuck your toes so that you can really feel the front edge of your pelvis grounding toward the floor. And when you inhale next, roll your chest open, slide the shoulders back, breathe a full breath. And then when you exhale, release the chest. Good. Hands come back to frame your breastbone. Push through hands and knees to find table. And with an exhale, lift your hips up super high for your first downward facing dog. Now, we're not in a hurry in this first down dog, so nice wide spread of the hands to keep us into this stability, and then reaching however much is comfortable through the length of the arms and the shoulders, releasing head through this space of upper arms, long neck. When your inhale comes, reach your right leg up high behind you. And then when your exhale comes, step your right foot up to meet your hands. Good. Your left hand's gonna stay pressed to the floor. You could flatten it or tent it up into fingertips. So with an inhale, your right arm is gonna reach to the sky into a revolved lunge. And then when your exhale comes, both fingertips come down to the floor for support. Push firmly through the right foot and step up with control. Good. When both feet are landed, inhale, lift the chest up halfway. And then exhale, let it go and fold. Arms to the sky, big, bright in-breath, stretch up. Close the cycle, bring your hands through your heart. We're going to take that same wave again. Inhale, forward fold to bow, exhale. Half extension with your inhale. And then release and step your left foot back. Keep your back knee and heel lifted. Track and pull your heart forward. So although we're really relying on the foundation of our feet, we're quite buoyant and light through the rest of the body. Breathe into the spaces that are opening and stretching. We'll take one more. Good. With both hands plugged into the floor, push into the hands and step your front foot back, length of plank pose. Knees can stay lifted or lowered. You're going to exhale and release with control. Fingertips point toward the back of the mat. Inhale to open the chest into this variation of locust pose. And as you exhale, release your chest. Put your hands to frame your breastbone. Press up through your table, and with toes tucked, lift hips high, downward facing dog. Stability comes from whatever it is that's connected to the ground. So the foundation of our body in this moment is mostly through the hands. A slow connection through the feet as well. Balls of the feet, like we're trying to hide the heels behind our big toe mounds. We're slowly, very slightly spiraling the inner thighs back. From here, left leg lifts high. With an exhale, left foot through to the hands at the front of the mat. Right hand stays tented or flattened onto a block. Inhale, lift your left arm to the sky. Lift everything. Breathe into your own spaces. And then look down and release your left fingertips so there's extra stability with both hands. Push through the left foot and step forward. When both feet are landed, inhale your chest up halfway. Exhale to release and fold. Arms to the sky, big bright in-breath, stretch up. Close your cycle, bring your hands through your heart. Good, we'll find some change. Big inhale. Smooth forward fold, exhale. Half extension with your inhale. And then exhale again to fold. Right foot steps back, knee stays lifted, heel stays lifted. This time the whole upper body lifts up, your shoulders float up out of your hips. Fingertips reach up toward the sky into high lunge, crescent lunge pose. Find the stability through your front foot, through your left foot. Lift strength from the root of your feet into your legs, into your belly, and then slide the side waist along. Breathe here, one more. When your exhale comes, both hands come down to frame your front foot. You're going to inhale to lengthen the left leg. Both legs are long and straight now, or drawing toward straight. Pull the outer hip crease of your left hip back, sliding the right hip point forward. So this brings the pelvis into neutrality at the front of the mat. And then from the root of the stability of your feet, lengthen your chest forward and breathe one more. Really good. When your exhale comes, big bend back into the left knee. Plant your hands. Push so much through your hands, you'll be able to raise your left leg into the sky, three-legged downward facing dog. So always when we come to these places, we have options. What I'd love to invite you to do is move with some strength with me. So pushing through your hands, move forward with an inhale to three-legged plank. Use an exhale to lower the left toes. Use an inhale to pick up the right toes. And with an exhale, lower down with this three-legged version. Inhale, cobra pose or up dog. And then exhale, draw your hips backward. Downward facing dog. Right leg picks up to the sky with a big in-breath. With an exhale, we step the right foot through to the hands at the front, and you're gonna pivot on your back heel for warrior two. Spiral your arms up and open. Check out through the arms and the legs. We're getting everything to eventually lie to a space parallel to the earth. So shoulder crest is resting down, inner thighs are spiraling open, and there's a full breath that rides up and down the torso. One more here. Good, stable through the legs, don't change a thing. Front elbow or forearm to front thigh, back arm out of the shoulder so it can be straight up to the ceiling or up over the top ear. Now again, we're working on our own stability here, so you're either gonna stay quite lifted with your elbow on your thigh, or if you're interested, you could lower your fingertips toward the earth. Keep the rib cage rotating up to the ceiling and breathe one more. Good, with an inhale, keep the strength in your legs, rise back up to warrior two. Good, and then taking the bend out of the front knee. Don't change anything about the feet, so the stability rides the same. Drop the hips to the back of the mat, reach the front fingertips as far forward as you can, and then cartwheel slowly and methodically to triangle posture. Extending through the top side arm, you can either keep the arm reaching straight into the shoulder socket, so there's an open line between the arms, or draw it up over your top ear to create more length through your upper side waist. If you're stable enough, you might even be able to float this lower hand. Breathe here, one more. Good, with an inhale, like you're picking up an invisible beach ball, come up. With an exhale, return to warrior two. Your back hand's gonna slide down onto your back hip, and I like to shorten my stance for this, 1 or 2 spaces. Now, if blocks were handy, you could bring one to catch the stability with your right hand. We're gonna set up for Ardha Chandrasana half moon pose with our right fingertips out to the pinky toe side of our right foot. I like to bring mine at least a foot in front of the pinky toe. Shift your weight mindfully into the right foot, and then slowly and methodically pick up the left leg. So you're bringing the legs at a 90-degree angle. The toes of the left foot are spiraling toward the long left edge of the mat, opening the hip. When you're steady, you might even choose to start raising the left arm to the sky, Ardha Chandrasana half moon posture. Big full breath in, slow breath out. Look down toward the floor and release your hands. We're gonna spiral the outer edge of the left hip down, so this creates an L shape with our upper body. Again, you may or may not want blocks under the shoulders to really find the truth of this shape. Pulling the legs straight out from the back of your hip, lifting up through the space of the chest. Breathe into the warmth that you can create. And the next time you exhale, lower the left toes beside the right. Inhale, lift the chest up halfway. Exhale, surrender and fold. Good, arms to the sky, big, bright, slow in breath. And close your cycle, bring your hands through your heart. Good, we'll go again. Inhale. And then forward fold, exhale. Halfway up with an inhale. Exhale to release, fingertips to the earth, left foot steps back, heel stays lifted, and we sweep up nice and high to high lunge pose. Pull everything in with some strength. Draw the shoulders down out of the ears. There's a manual adjustment here. And then pulling up from the stability of the feet into the strength of the legs in the center. This should give us the stability to get extra long through the sides. Breathe here for one more. Good, when your exhale comes, both hands come down to frame your front foot. You're gonna slowly start to squeeze this front leg straight. From a straightened place, pull the outer hip crease back, spiral your left hip crease forward, reach your heart up towards your toes, and then if there's any room, go ahead and bow. Breathe into the places that you are obviously creating space. Good, when your exhale comes, big bend again back into the right knee. So you're pushing into your hands and stepping straight back to a 3-legged downward facing dog. Now you can come to a regular down dog or regular plank at any time. If you're coming with me through strength, you're pushing through your hands and inhaling to ripple forward to 3-legged plank. Exhale to lower your right toes. Inhale to elevate your left, and keeping your belly drawn in, use an exhale and lower to the earth. Good, cobra pose or up dog. And then draw back with an exhale. Downward facing dog. Long, slow stretch. Complete plug of the hands. When your inhale comes, left leg lifts high. When your exhale comes, left foot through to the hands at the front, warrior two with the right foot. We're spiraling arms up and open. Settle with everything. Draw down through the feet. Find space through your own lunge. Over time, you might find that this moves and adapts and deepens. And there are other times where we need to protect ourselves more. We stay more lifted up to really stay into that ground of stability. Front elbow to front thigh, back arm straight out of the shoulder or up over the top ear. Again, if this feels like it's creating space in your body, you could lower the front fingertips, simmer and sink into your own heat. One more big breath here. Good, with an inhale, back up to the warrior two. And then with an exhale, taking the bend out of the front knee. Draw your hips toward the back edge of the mat. Keep your whole heart open and exposed. Cartwheel slowly to your variation of triangle. Back hand is gonna stay lifted, beautiful space, or drawn over your top ear. Again, if you can maintain the length and the breath, you might even hover this bottom hand. Plug into your own stability and breathe. Good, when your exhale comes, lift all the way back up. Bring your hands down onto your hips. And again, I like to move back foot in just slightly. Big bend back into your left knee. Spy your space that your left hand will land to take off to your half moon pose. Transfer your weight through to your left foot and extend the right foot straight up out of the hip, extending through the leg. Pull the toes toward the shin if it's helpful to maintain this stability. And if it feels good, reach your right arm up to the sky. Breathe into the length that you can create, rooting down through your left foot. We'll take one more. Then shift your gaze down so the right hand can come down and the outer right hip can roll down as well. Again, if blocks are handy, it helps bring a truth to how it is that we can keep everything lifted, just giving our limbs an extra couple of inches. Pull the chest up, pull the leg up, pull the belly up, and root down through your left foot. We have one more big breath. Good, when your exhale comes, lower the toes. Give yourself a complete forward fold. From your forward fold, it might feel good. Embrace opposite elbow. Shake out the crown of the head. Indulge in the breath to move slowly in and out through the base of the low back body. For some of us, we're even gonna start to bring in a little bit of a playful sway. More flex and bob and release of the knees if it felt good. Slow the breath down for one more. And then release the hands or the elbows. Push through your feet, draw your belly in. Inhale, circle all the way out and up. And then exhale, close the cycle. Bring your hands through your heart. Good, moving on, we'll change. Big inhale, lift. Slow exhale, fold, take your time. Half extension with an inhale. And then with an exhale, release your fingertips, step your right foot all the way back. We'll start by lifting into that high lunge like we did last time. This time the exhale is gonna bring the hands down through the hip and you're gonna start to rotate your right elbow over toward the left outer edge of the left knee. Push into your hands and rotate your heart up towards your thumb. As best you can, push into your stability and lean your top rib cage and your ears back. Breathe here for two more big breaths. Trust yourself. Pull that back leg up strong. Good, with your exhale, both hands come down to frame this front foot. You're gonna step the back foot in about 1.5 feet. Drop the back heel at a 45 angle degree. We'll take a full variation of our pyramid pose. Pull the pelvis to neutrality. So pulling the front hip crease, left hip crease back. Direct your chest forward. So we're lengthening low back and then keeping that length. Bow for a couple of breaths, releasing the head over the space of the front shin. Long, full breath in, sweet, full breath out. You begin to lift your gaze. We're gonna direct the right hand right under the shoulder. Again, a block might be ideal to come to the space where you can flatten your hand. Bring your left hand up onto your hip and begin to rotate your heart to the long left edge of the mat. If it's working out that you can keep your breath consistent, this is a really great place to find sticky spots. You might start to raise the left arm to the sky in a variation of a revolved triangle. Pull through the strength of your strong legs, up from the stability of your rooted feet, and breathe here one more. Good, with an exhale, bring your hands down both to frame your front foot. You might even want to lengthen out your lunge to bring your right leg a little further back behind. Plug through both hands and lift the left leg behind you into the sky, three-legged downward facing dog. Good, might be a great time for a regular down dog or even a child's pose. If you want that strength, you're coming forward with an inhale, three-legged plank. Use an exhale, lower the toes and either keep them there or inhale, elevate the right leg. Keep the belly lifted and use an exhale to lower with control. Untuck the toes and roll the chest open with a cobra or an up dog. And then draw your hips back with an exhale, downward facing dog. Go with a big in-breath, right leg lifts high. It might feel good to take a moment, bend the knee and open the hip. And then look forward to your hands, step the right foot all the way through to the front. And this time, we're gonna drop the back heel and revolve open to Warrior Two. Warrior Two is just a landing strip this time. Get the feet steady, drop your back hand to your back thigh, reach your front arm all the way up to the sky, Exalted Warrior. Trust the legs to sink into that stability of front leg. Strength, tone, breathe. One more big full breath. When your exhale comes, both hands come back down, frame your front foot, pick up your back heel, and step forward to the same variation of standing splits. And the last time we had the blocks, and if they're helpful, you can bring the blocks under your hands, under your shoulders, to lift your chest and pull your chest forward. This time, you're gonna keep the left hand rooted, bring your right hand up to your hip. Again, pulling your chest away from your left heel, keeping everything lifted. And if it feels good, you're gonna start to extend your right arm up to the sky, twisting across the whole standing right leg. Revolve, half moon, last big breath. Look down, with an exhale, release your hand and release your foot. Halfway up with your inhale. Smooth forward fold, let it go. Arms to the sky, big right in breath. Hands through the center, close the cycle. Let's take one more, big inhale. Smooth, steady exhale, forward fold. Half extension with an inhale. And then exhale, release, step your left foot all the way back and sweep the upper body up out of the shoulders, high lunge pose. As we did last time, hands are gonna come down into the center of the heart, pull the belly in, and then you're gonna twist left elbow to the outside of right knee. Revolve the heart up toward the thumb. Strengthen the legs by pulling strength from the foundation of your feet into the stability of your feet. Breathe one more with consistency. Good, look down and release your hand. Step the back foot in a little bit so you can turn the back heel down for a proper pyramid pose. Pull both legs long and straight. Lead the outer edge of the right hip back. Track your chest forward, and then if there's room, bow. If you have blocks available, you want to bring them up to give you a little leverage, a little bit more space, please do. Long, full, sweet breaths in and out. Good, from here, lift your chest. Left hand can stay on the floor. Of course, you could bring a block under your hand. Right hand comes up onto the hip, so you can start to lengthen and turn your chest toward this long right side. If it feels good in your shoulder, reach this top hand out of the shoulder socket, up toward the ceiling, spiraling your whole chest open into this twisted shape. Breathe here. Steady and strong, one more. Good, look down with an exhale, release both your hands, bring them to the earth. You might want to step the left foot back even a little bit longer. Plug through both hands and the right leg is going to lift into the sky, three-legged downward facing dog. Same choices, child's pose or regular down dog are a great idea. Or push forward on your left toes. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, lower the right toes. Inhale, pick up the left leg. And then exhale with strength, come down, three-legged push-up. Cobra pose or up dog. Downward facing dog we go. Big fluid breath in and out. Nice wide spread of the hands. Left leg lifts up high with an in-breath. Exhale, step through to your hands at the front. Back heel turns and spins for Warrior Two. And we come up through here, sinking into our warrior. Fingertips spread front and back hand drops down onto the back thigh. From palm reaches straight up to the sky, leaning into the space of exalted warrior. So if you have the room, keep the big bend in your front knee and lean back. Breathe into your belly and your edges. One more. Good. When your exhale comes, both hands come down. Frame your front foot. Again, pick up your back heel. Push through the left and step forward, standing splits at the front of the mat. Pull everything away from the last space. Again, if it's helpful, blocks under shoulders might give you a little bit more space. Pull the right leg up for support. Pull the belly and the chest up for support. And then leave your right hand down onto the block, left hand to the hip. And if it works out, you're gonna spiral your chest toward the left and potentially lift the arm up into the sky. Lift the right leg and the left arm. Lift, 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 and breathe. Good. With an exhale, look down. Release your left hand and your right foot. Bring the feet out again about an outer hip distance and surrender into a soft forward fold. Shake out the crown of the head. Loosen off through the shoulders. Big, full breath in. Long, slow breath out. Good. Come halfway up with your next inhale. Find a sweet fold with your exhale. Plant through your hands, step both feet back, length of plank pose. Stay here for a long in-breath, pressing through the hands. When your exhale comes, pick up through your hip crease and pull back to downward facing dog. Again, solid, full breath in. When your exhale comes, bring your knees to the earth. Bring your hips back down onto your heels. And for just a couple of breaths, lengthen the side waist long with your child's pose. Child's pose is an amazing opportunity to hear our breath rebounding back into our inner ear. You're going to push your hands into the floor and slowly walk hands back toward knees, stick them to sit. We're going to sweep our feet off toward the side. You're going to scoot yourself forward. When you can get to a place on the mat where you have plenty of room back behind you, we'll gather our feet to the floor with the knees pointed to the ceiling. Start your fingertips back behind. Adjust all the clothes. Roll your shoulders onto your back so there's a spread through the space at the front of your chest, and at the best of your ability, start to hover your feet. Now, if you've made it through the rest of this practice, I'm assuming this opening space of boat will be available. But if at this point your body is fatigued, you could always welcome yourself to lower the feet, refresh, lift up the feet, and hover. If you don't need the hands toward the mat, maybe encourage them to slide back behind the crook of your knees or open them completely. I would love you to find a happy place with the stability and the growth here. So start to kick the soles of your feet away from one another, but keep the flex in your knees so we can really isolate this into the central stability strength of our core body. Pull your heart towards your toes, and we're going to breathe here for 5. Keep the breath consistent and full. Keep the focus and the drishti forward on the toes. Just enough crook in the knees that we're isolating all of the intensity back into our center without having it land into our back or our hips. One more. Good. Inhale, pick it up. And then exhale, lower the feet. Hold the front of the kneecaps, release the head. Just take a little sway. It might even feel good to let the feet fall together and the knees spill open. We can give a complete bounce to the space of hips. From here, soles of the feet will find the floor again. We're going to make sure there's plenty of room behind us and roll all the way down onto your back. When you get here, walk the feet close toward the space of the back of your hips, like you're trying to balance your feet hip distance under the kneecaps, creating that 90-degree stacking. You're going to gather your elbows toward your side waist, point your fingertips toward the ceiling like a robot, plug your back, upper back, back of head, and feet to the floor evenly. When you're ready, use an inhale, squeeze your hips up off the mat. So this posture is simple, but it's not easy. The idea is to keep all 4 corners of our feet very evenly plugged, upper back very evenly plugged, so there's no pressure in the neck whatsoever. And then your hands can either stay pointed to the ceiling with a rooting nature through the back of your triceps, or you could gather them beneath you with a threading, walking one shoulder at a time in underneath. Use the stability that you can harness through plugging the four corners of your feet and let that press up into your legs so you can start to roll your chest up towards your chin without changing or compromising anything about the breath. Hug the inner thighs towards center like you were holding a little soccer ball you don't want to drop, and we're going to be here for 5. Two more, slow and steady, make them yours. Release the hands, pop up high into tippy toes if that feels okay, and use an exhale, roll your hips all the way down. Awesome. When you get here, soles of the feet together, knees wide once again. You can either let your arms fall completely off your body, or it might feel good to gather them onto your body for a few breaths. I like to layer mine right over the space where my lower rib cage meets the softness of my belly, so rigid bone to soft belly. Breathe into this space for a few breaths. From here, let your hands fall off your body. Fingertips connect to outer thighs. We're going to draw the knees back together. Keep the feet on the floor, spread your arms out wide, and then yogi's choice, you're going to let your knees fall to the left in a spinal twist. I always like to arrange to scoot the outer edge of my hip into center. You might find when you get here you need to pad the way by putting something under your knees or between them. You might even find that you like the feeling of a cross after some of those twisted shapes. If it feels comfortable enough, you start to let your nose fall off toward the right hand. Let the surrender come through the base of the back of your body. So stability in this moment is really allowing ourselves to surrender into the shape, knowing that the floor is here to hold us. 2 more easy breaths just for you. And with an inhale, knees back up through center, uncross if you've crossed, change anything about the hips that might help you steer to the far side, both knees over toward the right. Again, you can pad, you can cross, you can shift, you can scoot hips. Make it yours. Close down your eyes and soften into a couple of moments of sweet surrender. Acknowledge the grounding nature that the breath has to bring us into a mode of stability. When your inhale comes next, lift your knees back up through the center line and then cross if you've crossed. Arrange the hips so they're right down under the shoulders, and it might feel good to hug everything in once more. And this hug can be simple, in towards your chest. You can peel your head and your shoulders up. You can take a moment of a happy baby if it speaks to you. And when you're ready to, and not a moment before, extend your body down the length of the mat. Let your arms fall off to the sides or let them fold to rest comfortably onto your body. And just give yourself a moment to arrive into this final shape. We make our way through the layers of a journey every time we step onto this mat. And no matter what it is that we intend, what we encounter comes as a bit of a revelation. Allow yourself to fall now into the deep, stable support of your mat, letting all of the work and the vibrancy of your body be held. Soften effort through places like hands and face, in your jaw, in your tongue, any strain through your brow. Surrender the weight of your body and any of the buzzing through your mind. If thoughts come, which they will, let them come. And then also see if you can let them go. And for just a moment, we'll try to be held by the softness of being. Drink a slow breath into the base of your belly. Fill up completely and let it go slowly. Allow your breath to arrive back to a place that it is even and nurturing and full. Indulge in any little simple movements that might need to arise through your body. Without speeding yourself up or slowing yourself down, when you're ready, find the feet back up onto the floor and roll yourself off to a right side or a left side where we can pause for a moment. And from the nest of this really supported space, we consider what it is that we'd like to bring up with a clear mind and a clear heart back to our final seat, and then ideally off the mat into the greater practice of our life. When you find that, connect a free hand to the floor and help lift yourself up slow. You can sit in any way that makes sense to you, choosing to layer the hands in a rooted nature, turn down to the top of the lap. Or for some of us, it speaks most truly and clearly to lift hands up together and marry them into the home of the heart. My deepest hope for all of us is that whether it be through a physical practice or one that really clarifies mental or emotional spaces, especially the ones that help us tie all layers and fragments of our life and our practice together, that we'll continually come back and re-reference what it is that makes us feel rooted and held, recognizing the importance that these qualities hold for us as we navigate our way down the path. And the light that burns within me sees and very deeply bows to that exact same light that burns within you and therefore makes us the same. Namaste.